I'm sorry. They got cut off way, way soon from what they should have. I mean, those guys had another, if you wanted to use them right, a couple more years together.
Let's go to Tim Angston with a super chat. Tim, great to see you. And I see you on social, on Twitter, and he's here, always a supporter. Beach Blast 93 was one of my favorite shows of all time. Your match against the Hollywood Blondes was stellar. Thoughts on Austin and Pillman back in those days as a team?
Was Flair and I partners? Is that the match?
I'd have to look it up. Maybe somebody in the chat can tell me right off the top of my head. I don't recall, but I'll let you guys help me out. But who was it? Who was the match? Who was Arn's tag team partner on that Beach Blast 93, guys? We'll wait for that. But just in the meantime,
overall, Austin and Pillman, I knew.
Yeah.
They had that.
Paul Roma and you.
Oh, okay. Paul and all righty.
Yeah.
Well, Austin and Pillman had that chemistry. They could have really ran with that if they would have put the emphasis on them as a team and let them grow, give them, they had another year and a half. They could have really ran with that team. They liked each other. They complimented each other. They were young. They were in shape. They were, no injuries yet to speak of. And, man, they could just get out there and tear it up.
No, for sure. That's when, to me, Austin obviously TV champ and Pillman doing his thing, the Bengal tights, and you could see the potential. But when they came together as a team, man, it was next level. And people started to see, especially Austin. I think those, again, as you watch his career progress, obviously nobody knew that he was going to be Stone Cold Steve Austin, and have that ride that kind of wave. But man, he was so talented.
Well, yeah. And the thing about it is, I always call him his generation's Ivan Koloff. If you saw Ivan Koloff when he was in his youth and in his peak, he was just a machine. He just kept coming. Same thing with Austin. That's who he reminded me of. And just great cardio and great strikes. He would stomp you half to death if need be. I know, I can attest. They were a great team.
Our fifth and final clip of the week. Let's listen to the message you had for Austin and Pillman on the May 29th episode of WCW Saturday Night. Again, 5/29/93. Here we go.
We are back on TBS, and there's no question here on TBS the last couple of months we've witnessed the rebirth of the Four Horsemen. Clash of the Champions comes your way on June 17th right here on TBS. We talked about a tremendous announcement concerning tag team action. Arn, why don't you tell us some more about it?
Well, Tony Giovanni, it appears to me that Brian Pillman and Steve Austin think Ric Flair and myself are about 75 years old. You see, they've mistaken ring knowledge, ring leadership, ring generalship for age in years. Well, gentlemen, let me explain something to you. We're not ready for words to be spoken over us just yet. You see, there's an old cliche. You never wake up a sleeping giant. But with all your braggadocious trash talking on the Flair for the Gold, you awoke a couple. You see, the mystery is now over. Everybody's been wanting to know when Ric Flair is going to put the tights back on. In Norfolk, Virginia, he's going to put them on at the Clash of Champions as my partner. And rest assured of one thing, the Four Horsemen didn't get their reputation for shoving drunks around in a bar or kids on a playground. We earned it by wrestling the very best and beating the very best. And in Norfolk, you're just going to be two more on our resume.
Thursday, June 17th, Ric Flair returns with Arn Anderson against the Hollywood Blondes as we go back to action.
It's official, Arn. Arn and Rick versus the Hollywood Blondes. Set up for Clash of the Champions, and you two plan on teaching these punks a lesson. How excited are you that finally Flair's going to be back and you guys can finally start from giving promos to now start wrestling together once again?
Things are looking up. Yeah, it was a happy time. It's going to be good. We knew we would tear the joint down with those guys.
Arn, two more questions and we'll wrap it up. Scott Golden says, did you think the Blondes were going to be a long-term team for the WCW brand like the Rock and Roll Express or Midnight Express?
They should have been.
Right.
I'm sorry. They got cut off way, way soon from what they should have. I mean, those guys had another, if you wanted to use them right, a couple more years together.
Man, right. They could have been right there with those guys. They were so good.
Yes, yes.
So Steve does defeat Brian Pillman, 9 minutes here at Clash with Robert Parker. He pushes Pillman off the top rope as Flying Brian was going for the springboard clothesline. The Blondes are officially done, Arn. And then rather than having a longer singles program between the two of them, Stone Cold, once again, stunning Steve Austin moves on with Dustin Rhodes for the U.S. title. And we know the Hollywood Blondes are favorites of the Arn Show, so we do have a few listener questions. Brad Stanton says, you made it clear that the Blondes ended too early. Yes, he just did. Again, Brad, would you have what would you have done as a booker? Would you have kept them heels or turned them babyface?
I'd have let the fans turn them babyface a year down the road. But we did not get their best. You would have gotten their best in the course of the next year.
Dylan says, did Arn think that the Hollywood Blondes breaking up, that this could be Austin's chance to climb the ranks and finally get to the main event spot?
Well, I think he would have got there anyway. But, I mean, Austin was just, he had it. And it was just a question of when.
Sam Lawson with another great question for you this week. He's asking, Double-A, did Pillman or Austin seek out your advice when they broke up the Blondes? With your experience at that point, you had successfully been the engine of several legendary teams, and you rose to the top each time. So I'm wondering if those guys ever doubted their singles potential. Thanks. I'm looking forward to receiving my copy of My Life as the Enforcer. So there you go. Did they ever come and talk with you? And thank you, by the way, Sam, for purchasing that.
Yes, thanks, Sam. Not really. I don't think so. I think they took control of their own situation. You guys kind of, once you were a top guy and being used as a top guy, you pretty much took care of your own business.
Right. Nick Lenz wants to know if you have ever heard the reason for WCW splitting up Austin and Pillman, and was it for low ratings?
Well, I sure wouldn't blame them for the low ratings.
Right.
That's the last crew I would put the finger on.
I think they just didn't understand or realize at the time what they had in those guys as a tag team.
I don't think so either. I don't,
Yeah.
And they didn't realize that it takes 6 months of being on TV every week to get over in those days. You had to be on there every single week and used in a good capacity. And when I say get over, that means you can go to a town, single main event, and draw a house.